Hey there, and welcome back to the Golden Age of DC Comics 365. What am I doing? I'm using this book for its intended purpose. I'm doing a page a day, and I'm sharing it with you. Because if you're tuned in, that means you love comic books as much as I do. I am a baby of the Bronze Age. I was born in 1972, and I was a comic book buyer all throughout my childhood and early teens. So I have nothing but love for the golden and silver ages of comic books. And just want to show you something. The background here, that Lego skyline, that's Gotham City. That's the Gotham City skyline in Lego. I used to have the Batman 66 Lego Batcave, and it had a library. It was at Stately Wayne Manor, where the bat poles went down to the cave. You know, the phone and the red button under the Shakespeare head, and the print on the wallpaper. It was so awesome and fun. I've retired that Lego, but I kept its skyline. So I kept a skyline of Gotham City, of what it would look like from the library of Stately Way Manor and the Palisades of Gotham City, you know. So and I've got that. I've got a bat signal, and it's got a battery to it. It's a cute little one. It's kind of like not in scale to all the Legos, and the belt buckle. It's an old belt buckle that I used to make the static bat signal in the sky behind Wayne Tower there, and that's Manhattan and Chicago as Lego. So that was kind of directly inspired by the Christopher Nolan trilogy, where he shot principal photography for downtown Gotham, especially in the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises, the on-street stuff. A lot of it was shot in Chicago, and yeah, so that's my Gotham. I just wanted to share with you a comic book, some geekery, some geek love, as I like to say. Well, let's get to today's page. Here I am, turn the page. Today is January the 24th. And I just like to point out, as always, with this, especially with this book, that it covers an era and an age of American culture that could be seen as problematic today. So I'm going to flat out address that there are words and stereotypes and modes and mores in this book that are not consistent with today's American culture. And that's fine. And I'm going to say these words, and I'm going to show these pictures. And I'm going to actually try to maybe even obscure some pictures with my fingers while showing the what the day is. I've already seen one that I'm going to do, and I'll tell you about it when we get to it. But I got that. That's just my level of comfort on my station, my channel, which I want. You know, I don't want to. You know, it might not be for kids, and I might drop an occasional F-bomb, but you know, I mean, there are just some stereotypes of this era that are just, you know, you really can't show without being problematic. And I would encourage you to find the source material and look at it there if you want to look at it. Or RTFM, you know, read the FM manual. Just look it up on Wikipedia. You can find anything out there. So if you like to follow up anything, if you think I'm being censorious, I can be if I want to. And but here comes, you know, some problematic words. But it's January 24th. Propelled by Superman's toss, Gimpy sails out through the night. Yow! We're going to see Gimpy in flight here. That got thrown by the Superman. Why is his name Gimpy? It can only mean he probably suffered an injury or had a childhood disease that left his motor skills impaired. You know, this is the words that they used back then, all right? And also nicknames, you know, are rarely, you know, ever nice. I know, I've got one. I'm Irish American. I have the most common Irish American nickname out there. That's right, Murph. January 24th. Superman, now often considered a model of rectitude and restraint, was more of a wild man in his early days. Here, he heaves a criminal into the sky with potentially fatal results. Although, in fairness, the man does fall into a river. Then again, he lands screaming for help and apparently drowning. The recipient of this rough treatment, unpleasantly dubbed quote-unquote Gimpy, introduced slum kids to a life of crime and a groomer, and was evidently based on the character of Fagin in the Charles Dickens novel Oliver Twist. Here we go. See, like culture upon culture. It's turtles all the way down. It really is. You can look for that. That's a video I have too, as well. It's turtles all the way down. January 3rd or 4th, I believe. You can check it out in the archive. But yeah, so Gimpy introduced slum kids to a life of crime, and was evidently based on the character of Fagin, and or is it Fagin? You tell me in the comments. In the Charles Dickens novel Oliver Twist. Superman's radical solution to the problem of juvenile delinquency was to destroy the slum, thus obliging the government to rebuild. A later version of Superman might have constructed a new neighborhood himself, but this young firebrand with his scorched earth policy was the one who enthralled the Depression, capital D, era, the Depression audience, and radically altered the content of American comic books. That was all about Superman. And that panel, this panel here, of her unfortunate childhood groomer, this is from story by Jerry Siegel, art by Joe Shuster, from Action Comics issue number 8. This is from January of 1939. Wow, that's heavy. I'm throwing that around. Let's just look up something real quick. Capital T, capital E, no, capital G, capital D, capital. The Great Depression was a severe worldwide economic depression that took place mostly during the 1930s, beginning in the United States. The Great Depression started around September 1929. And between 29 and 32, worldwide gross domestic product, GDP, fell an estimated 15%. Yeah, so let's see. There's more of a capsule in here. Yeah, so the Great Depression. When did the Great Depression end? Well, we can look that up later. I don't want to bore you. We're getting too long for one of these videos. But yeah, the Great Depression was about the time that the golden age of comics started. So there wasn't a lot of money going around. This is something that you could buy and share, and they didn't get a resale value until the speculator market. But back then, in these early days of the late 1930s, we're just getting out of the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl. There was a flu pandemic in 1917, 18, and there was these things going around. There was measles, there was mumps, chicken pox. These things were, that was life back then. But people didn't have a lot of money to spend, and so if you can spend it you can spend your hard-earned, chores money on some foolish story of a space alien that can leap over tall buildings and dresses in circus tights, and what does he do exactly? I mean, that seems like a constant to being a comic book fan, having to explain Superman to your parents or a normie. But this has been the golden age of DC Comics, 365 days. We're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. What are you doing tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern? Tune in, see what we're talking about tomorrow. Well, if you love comic books, Hopefully this is why you're here. Give me a thumbs up if you like this kind of material. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't. Leave a comment in the comment section. Let's continue this conversation about comic books. And also, I'd love to earn your subscription. I'm an ordained minister, an amateur theologian. I say let's get spiritual. I'm a professional chef. I make delicious, nutritious, and beautiful food for my customers daily. And I share this information with you so you can share it with your loved ones at home. So tune in. Please give me a subscribe. Thank you so very much. And we'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye-bye.